How does watching people dance make you feel? Dance as a form of expression is powerful. For audiences like myself and you, watching a dancer realise their full potential can seem like a spectacular visual experience. In this series, I hope to explore various dance styles through the stories of professional dancers in London, to celebrate their success and acknowledge their failures. Through the lens of journalism and a fascination with dance and movement, I created this series to celebrate London's diverse dance culture. To begin this journey, I travelled to Harrow, where I met Prabhleen, the face of Sapnay School of Dance.
I started dancing when I was about 4 years old. My mum, she saw me dancing. I think it was at just like a family event or something, and she just thought like, this girl has a talent and I want to touch upon that. That's it. She set up her own dance company actually about 15 years ago, which is how I then started to take my dancing a lot more seriously. She was my first ever teacher. She was training me. I won a competition. I was labelled the first ever UK Bollywood dance champion when I was about like 7. And it was around that time where I started then taking ballet, Kathak, Bhangra, Bollywood, jazz and gymnastics. And I started doing all those kind of dance styles from a very young age. I worked on my technique at that point. It's a matter of not just being able to do what you do and do it well, it's like what goes on behind the scenes that every dancer has to think about. And it's a long-term thing. It's like all this training that goes behind it and all this mindset that you have to get into, that this is what I'm doing and I'm here to do it and I'm here to do it well.
Prabhleen dedicates much of her time to training, teaching and mastering the art form. Even while she completed a degree at one of London's top universities, she held regular classes at base dance studios, sharing vibrant and modern routines. Adapting to the global pandemic, she has continued her teaching by sharing dance tutorials online.
Good. Let's add that in from the top.
And alongside her mother, she has choreographed for well-known musicians like the Jonas Brothers.
We did a project for the Jonas Brothers, which was just like, I would say one of the most unforgettable, fulfilling experiences of my entire life. Because like, how many people can say that they got to choreograph for like the Jonas Brothers, you know? It was literally like a dream come true for us. It was all a matter of just doing it on the day. There was no rehearsals, there was nothing, it was just on the shoot. We listened to the song and I had to choreograph what I needed to choreograph there. I was working with some amazing movement directors. I was working with the director as well. I had the privilege of meeting Nick Jonas, the Jonas Brothers, Priyanka Chopra, listening to their vision, and kind of it was just so surreal. Like in the moment it was very like all guns go, headspace, you know, professional mode, get it on. But then afterwards I was able to like just sit back and be like, wow, that was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Back in 2016, Sapnay School of Dance shined on Britain's Got Talent under the name Bolly West Fusion. This group, created by Prableen's mother Ash and father Arijit, fused Bollywood dance with elements of street and hip-hop in theatrical performances. I got Prabhleen to look back at that moment of her career.
Britain's Got Talent was genuinely a dream come true. It was not only this amazing platform that we got given, it was the ability to share my work and what Bollywood is to the British public. Britain's Got Talent was really something that I'll never forget.
Miss Asiana is known as the UK's biggest pageant for aspiring Asian models. I shadowed Prabhleen throughout the event. I got to appreciate South Asian traditions and a culture that differed from my own.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Britain's Miss and Mrs.
I got to witness firsthand the time that goes into perfecting a routine and what a day in the life of Prabhleen is really like. Events like this is where her ability to direct behind the scenes is shown best.
When it comes to choreographing routines, there's no like straightforward method for me. It's a very like how I feel, very, very intuitive process for me. And I always say it's two things. It's one, listening to how you feel in that moment, and it's also listening to what the music's telling you to do. There's a reason, there's a there's a history, there's a process behind it, there's a story behind it, and it's my job as a choreographer, as a dancer, to bring that out. Sometimes I'll choreograph in like 2 hours, sometimes I choreograph in like 2 minutes even, or maybe not 2 minutes, maybe like 20 minutes. I could just choreograph even on the train with headphones in my ears. I have a very like imaginative mind, and it's just a matter of getting it out physically and then doing it. Down.
Born in London and being of Punjabi heritage means that her lived experiences come from being immersed in two very distinct cultures. I was curious to find out how she taps into her dual identity through dance and what obstacles may have come her way.
Growing up in the UK, there is a sense of this dual identity because I think I'm also dealing with stereotypes in some senses. So people kind of assume Bollywood is this screw the light bulbs, or being Indian means I'm like, you know, the typical stereotypical things like, oh, your parents must be really strict, or like, you know, like how much do you study in a day? Like even on like a personal level, not just about my profession anymore, but there are these kind of like stereotypes and connotations, and they're usually like negative, I guess, in some senses. That would be like the only issue I would say of having this dual identity. But I think that now in today's day, with the fact that we have South Asian representatives in like Hollywood, like Deepika Padukone, we've got people like that representing us. People are a lot more able to understand like, oh, Bollywood isn't this weird little dance from the land of snake charmers. It's not something to be made fun of. It's something that is exciting and vibrant and amazing, and it has a reason, there's a story and everything, and Bollywood is like a storytelling kind of dance. It's from the movies, and in the movies there are stories.
The classical form of Indian dance known as Kathak in its purest form is a storytelling dance. Kathak derives from the Sanskrit word katha, meaning story. Sanskrit is one of the oldest languages in India and the world. Despite the many aspects of Indian dance, storytelling seems to remain at the heart, along with feeling and emotion. In films, Bollywood dance has been used to convey character emotions and set the mood of a scene. In its classical and contemporary forms, Bollywood dance continues to play an important role for the Indian diaspora in connecting with their home culture and understanding their history and heritage. In more ways than one, dance is a form of education.
Okay, so I want to see the line going up on all your hands.
Now watch as dancer Pranita Jain takes the crowd for an interactive demonstration that shows just how storytelling and dance intersect. With all this in mind, I pose my final question to Prabhleen.
Educate us on the distinctions between the more classical genres of dance and within Bollywood dance, such as Kathak and Bharatanatyam.
The distinction between traditional forms of Indian dancing, such as Kathak and Bharatanatyam, I would say they are like the foundation for the South Asian dance forms that are out there. You know, so on the Western side of things, you get like ballet and contemporary, maybe even like jazz, but then it branches off into commercial, jazz, all those kind of things. So same way in Bollywood, Bollywood is kind of like, I would say it's a mixture of a much more modern era because it's linked to movies and everything as well. So Kathak Bharatanatyam is like your foundation level, and Bollywood takes that one step further. It involves dance forms from all over the world. It's not, Bollywood isn't just one static kind of, you know, there's no exam structure, there's no specific name for a specific move in Bollywood, but Kathak and Bharatanatyam, they have names and they have exams, and it's a much more, I would say, a structured kind of foundational level. So Bollywood takes it much more commercially and a lot more, it's known a lot more under, and a lot of people will get it, they'll cross it over and think Bollywood is Kathak and Kathak is Bharatanatyam, and they'll like mix it up, but it's actually two very separate dance forms.